I'll record it and then we'll post it.
Oh,
Good.
What's this button called Start Video?
That's so you can make yourself visible to everybody else.
I don't see that.
Oh, did you?
Here?
Oh, okay.
Is
Down on
that
the bottom, probably. Depends on what kind of screen you're on.
Yeah, you may have to run the,
on now?
thing
I
over the
need to hit
bottom.
Start Video.
Okay.
Hey, this third dog got a
If
question.
you don't
on
want to
who-
be heard, you can hit mute during the meeting.
Right. When the
Okay.
presentation
There we
starts,
go.
I'll mute everybody.
Thank you.
But yeah, I think, hang on one second. Erdal, you had a question?
Thank you.
Yeah, I
Oh,
don't know if I owe dues
it's
or
kind of loud.
what the status is. Who do I
You-
contact?
You do still owe dues, yes.
There's mutes over there.
Okay, who do I send it to?
You can go on the website and renew it, or you can send it to the Art League's website. Well, not to our mailing address,
That's
which is,
better. Yeah.
I'll just go on the
Thank
website.
yeah, website's easiest.
All right.
So you just did sound down here, huh? Okay.
Hey, Alan, welcome to our meeting.
Hey, thank you.
Our newest member.
Oh, wow. Glad to be
We're
here.
getting all the Seven Oaks people here.
That's why we're getting some transplants, that's for sure.
Yes, we are.
Seven Oaks is definitely defunct, so,
Oh,
That's too bad.
That's too bad.
well, I tried hard
Well,
and it didn't work when the pandemic finished us.
Well, we welcome you with open arms.
We're glad to have you.
Yep.
Or the merrier.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, it's almost 7 o'clock.
Okay, thank you.
So Sandra, if you were.
Yes.
What I was thinking, do you want me to go ahead and do you want to wait till 7 for me to start the Zoom part, or how do you want to?
No, you're on Zoom.
No, I know. What she's going to do is explain some things and what you need to do while we're having the meeting.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead and do that now.
Okay.
Hi, Sonia.
All right. Well, I wanted to ask you too. We've got a lot of people on the call. We've got a couple guests. We've got several new members. Do you want to have everybody real quick? Just make sure they're unmuted, wave their hand, say their name so people can put faces with names.
Sure, I can only see 9 people at a time because I couldn't get my computer to it.
Right, but if everybody is
To the
quiet and only
internet,
one person
so
at a time speaks.
I'm on my
then,
iPad.
Peggy
Okay, so do we
Blyberg,
need to change that?
can you hear me? Peggy Blyberg.
Hey, Peggy, yeah, we can hear you.
Great.
Yeah.
Actually, why don't I do this? Why don't I,
Now I got you.
yeah.
That roll call.
Yeah, well, what I was gonna say is what might work better, because y'all don't know when everybody else is getting ready to talk. So why don't I just read down the list real quick, and when I say your name, answer and wave your hand so that other people can see you. Check to make sure you're not muted before that happens, okay?
Okay.
All right, so I'm just gonna read down the list as it is on the screen. So me, it says the CCAL host, but I'm Barbara Teusink. I have Chris Carlson.
Hey,
Thank you. And I have one that says iPad.
Oh,
That's
might
me
be-
probably.
Oh,
Okay, go ahead and introduce yourself. Sorry.
Come sit down.
Wait,
oh, I lost everything. It's back.
where did my iPad person go?
I'm on an iPad, but I think I'm the last person to speak, Barbara. This is Julie.
Hey, Julie, I see you.
I
You
see
actually
your
have your
picture,
name on yourself,
Julie.
so I knew that was you. There's
It should
iPad
say
reconnecting.
iPad down.
I think the
under your
iPad person is Ruth.
Yeah,
Is that Ruth DiMirra? Okay,
yes. Mhm.
it's kind of dark on my screen. Okay, all right. There's Ruth. I'm gonna change your
Yeah.
name to say Ruth. So if anybody's
Thank
trying
you. I appreciate that.
it'll only last for this session, Ruth. You'll have to change
Okay.
it yourself, but
Oh,
for this session, people will be able to see who you are.
mhm.
Okay, so Donna Reed.
Yes, hey.
Okay. Alan Wiedenbaugh.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you. Al Leach.
I'm here.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Ann Peak.
I'm here.
Okay. You want to wave or say something so people can see you?
I'm waving right now.
Oh,
You don't have to see me.
Oh, okay, all right.
Is everybody else, Barbara?
We'll go with that then. All right,
Is everybody
Brenda and
else-
Will Clark.
We're here.
Okay, Jean Kirkley.
I'm here, and I'm like Ann, I'd rather not be seen, but
But
anyway.
you're so lovely. Why would we not want to see you? All
Have-
right.
I'm in Cary, North Carolina, and I have my whole family's going to watch this. So
Wow,
we have 4 guests.
awesome. Okay. Kathy Dubier.
Hey,
There you are. Hello.
hello.
Susan Hoffield.
Hey.
Dee Dee Ruth. Well, you there, Dee Dee?
She's there. I see her.
Okay.
I saw her too.
Okay. Mary Monroe. I guess this isn't working so well with trying to get names with faces, so maybe we should just skip this part. Okay. So what we'll do is I'm going to give a very brief orientation for Zoom for those of you who are on Zoom for the first time. So we've done this once before. It's worked really pretty well. So there's a couple things to take advantage of if you don't know, if you haven't already looked at this, but on your screen somewhere, might be upper right hand corner, you'll find something that lets you change between your views.
You're not getting the video.
Joyce, you talking?
You keep cutting out. They give
I
us
am?
a black screen with a little figure on it and cut you out.
I am?
Why don't you
Yeah.
mute everyone, Barbara?
Yeah.
Everyone probably.
All right, come on, where's my mute all? There it is. Okay. Okay, very so well trying to get names with faces. So
I'm hearing something.
skip this part. Okay. All right.
Barbara,
It says talk
what is it?
curly, and I barely hear it.
You can barely hear me?
Yeah, that's background. Barbara, there's background noise of something. I don't know what it is.
It's not coming from me. Okay, I'm gonna mute everybody else for a minute and will one of you just raise your hand and make sure you can hear?
It takes the place of
Okay, I'm gonna mute everybody. And I'm gonna allow you to unmute yourself. So if one person will unmute yourself, and well, actually, let me, hey, Shin, Kay Stalling, will you tell me if you can see me and hear me okay? Okay.
hear you, and I'm right next to you.
Okay, all right, good. So I'm gonna run through the Zoom guidelines real quick. So somewhere on your screen, there's gonna be a button that says view, and you can change that from gallery view to speaker view. Speaker view is probably what you want because it'll let you see whoever's talking biggest in the window. With this many people on gallery view, you're gonna have to scroll between multiple pages, and that probably won't help you all that much anyway. So I would suggest speaker view. Somewhere on your screen, you have a mute. It's like a little picture of a microphone, and if it has a red line through it, you are muted. Right now, you should be muted. But at any point you need to speak, you can click on that to unmute yourself and then click on it again to remute yourself. And when you don't need to speak, keep yourself muted because it cuts down on the background noise and helps a lot. During the presentation, I will mute everyone again. And next to that, you have a little picture of a camera and it says either stop video or start video. That's how you turn on and off your video for yourself. It's polite to let people see you unless you're opposed to that. It's fine either way. You have a chat option that's down somewhere on the window. You'll see a screen. You might have to tap your screen or pull up from the bottom to see it, but you have a chat window. During the presentation, we're going to ask you to use that chat function to type in any questions that you have. And then as the questions are coming in, I'm going to read those back out loud so that Rob can try and answer them while he's working on the demo. And if any questions remaining, we'll answer at the end. But doing it that way will let it try and keep a minimum to the chaos. If you want to speak, next to your name, you have an option to raise your hand, and you can do that, and I'll be able to unmute you so that you can ask a question in person if it fits within the presentation. You should be able to see other participants if you would want to. That's about it. So does anybody have any immediate questions right now? If so, raise your hand. And by raise your hand, I mean virtually raise your hand. So you can choose the option to, this shows like a little picture of a hand. So one of you, Donna Reed, can you tell me, can you see the little raise your hand symbol?
I was just looking for that. I don't see that. Is it on the bottom? It's not on the bottom.
It should be over on your participant window. Do you see your participant window?
Oh, let me see. Well, that has I just clicked on something. It said invite. Reactions, records, share screen, chat, participants, stop video and mute.
You see some little options that say things like yes, no, go slower, go faster.
I'm on a Mac. That may be the difference.
It's under participants. If you click
It's
on
under
participants.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on an iPad and I'm not getting a lot of that either, but
On mine,
that's
it's under
okay.
reactions.
Yeah, it should be under reactions. It should be an option under reactions. It's a little picture of a hand. There, a bunch of people have raised their hands, so people are starting to find it. So look around for that. If you need it, then you can use it, and if you can't find it, then just send a chat to me, and I'll try and answer it while Rob is doing the presentation. Okay. All right. So that's it for the Zoom stuff. So Sandra, I'm going to turn it over to you. We have a couple of people who have their hands raised. I think they were just testing that. Rob, were you just testing it?
He's doing a thumb.
Yes, just testing. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna lower your hand. Ruby, did you have an actual question or were you just testing it? Ruby? Okay, while we wait for Ruby to try and find it. Kimberly, do you have an actual question or were you testing it? If you're answering me, I can't hear you because you're muted.
I was just testing it.
Okay.
I was just testing too.
All right. If you were just
Well,
testing,
say
go ahead and
no,
turn it
no,
back
no,
off, or I'm
no,
going to
no.
lower all those hands. Sandra, I'm going to turn it over to you and let you start the meeting.
All right, thank you.
I don't think I signed in. I don't think she didn't ask me to, so I don't believe I'm in.
Sandra?
Yes, I'm here. All of a sudden my screen went black again. Well, I want to welcome everybody. I can't see but 9 people on my iPad, but that's fine. And right now I see a big Barbara on my screen.
Woo!
I know.
Sorry.
She's 6.
That's all right. Now I see Donna. Donna, you need to mute.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Thank you. But we want to thank everybody for being here tonight, and our new members and our guests. We invite you to come back again. We'll get the hang of this sooner or later, I promise you. Want to thank everyone who did take paintings to the tap gallery. There are not a lot there, so if anyone has a painting that they would like to take to put in the left-hand side as you go into the to Crooked Creek, we'd love to have some more paintings there. For those of you who were award winners and have not picked up your paintings, they are on the right-hand side hanging on the wall, and you can pick them up at any time. I hope that everyone got the update, the board update on Tuesday. This is something we're trying to do so that we don't have to have a long business meeting. Tonight's will be a little bit longer because we have several things that we need to go over. And even after we get out of Zoom meetings and regular meetings, we'll try to do that to cut down on the time. Dues are due now, should be paid no later than December. You'll find out as we talk about our juried shows, both the Still Hopes and our spring show, that you have to be a member in order to enter. It's very easy to do it online. Please try it that way. It will come up and say that your dues are $25, but when you get ready to check out, it will show half price. So remember that you are just paying half price for it. On the board email that you received, there was something about the Community and Schools Workshop. This was a drawing workshop. It is this Thursday at 7 o'clock. There was a link that you could go to if you were interested. It is being taught by James Busby, who is resides in Chapin and is an award-winning artist. So if any of you are interested, please do that. Did anyone have any questions about anything before we go on? I think my main problem right now with Zoom is picking out a top that will go with jeans and my bedroom slippers. So, you know, I may have to wear my bedroom slippers to the reception if we have a reception. I've gotten so used to them. At this point, what we're going to do is to go through the agenda, and each person who is going to be talking to you will pass it on to the next one. Renea Eshleman has kindly volunteered to be the Still Hopes chair for this year. She's not able to be with us tonight, but did ask for me to go over some things with you. The prospectus for the Still Hopes exhibit, and we will be exhibiting in December and January. The prospectus is online. If you will go to our website, go to events calendar and come down to where it says Still Hopes exhibit, scroll down about halfway on the page, and there will be the prospectus. In order to enter Still Hopes, you must be a member, current member. The works that you show, and you can enter up to 2 pieces, the works that you show cannot have been shown in any juried show with Crooked Creek. That means our spring show or the Still Hopes exhibit. Also, what you exhibit in Still Hopes will not be able to be shown in the juried show in the spring. So keep that in mind. You may enter online. There's a button to click so that you can enter online. Some of you maybe wonder, why should we enter Still Hopes? There are a couple of reasons. Number one, they like us over there. They enjoy the art. The residents do, the staff does, and they were disappointed when we had originally thought that we would not participate in Still Hopes this year, but they're excited that we're going to be doing this. This also is a community outreach, even though that area of Columbia is not in the Chapin community. We're still participating in something with another group of people. And last year it was very profitable for some of our artists because we sold about 20% of the paintings that were hung. So this is something to keep in mind. The registration, I said, is now open. It will be open through November 7th because you'll see on the prospectus, it gives the dates. We'll have the jurying on the 7th through the 15th, and then you'll be delivering your artwork to the park, Crooked Creek Park, on Saturday, December 5th. But you can see all of that in the prospectus. Does anyone have a question about Still Hopes or the prospectus or the entering process? If you do, please contact Renea Eshleman, or you can contact me, and I can refer it to the correct person.
Sandra, we have one question from Mary Collette asking to confirm that they bring the paintings to Crooked Creek.
Yes, the paintings will be brought to Crooked Creek on Saturday, December 5th from 10 to noon. And then they will be taken to Still Hopes, and they will actually be hung on that evening on the 5th. The Still Hopes will only allow 2 people in at a time to do the hanging, and it has to be after 8 p.m. And Renee and can't remember who else is doing it. Karen is doing it, I think. Karen Jamro, and so they will be doing that. Then it will come down in the last of January on the 29th. Any other questions? I encourage you to look at the prospectus. There is a size limitation. And remember, keep in mind, if you enter it in this, it cannot be entered in any other Crooked Creek exhibit. Now, that doesn't include if you bring a painting to hang in the tap gallery. It doesn't include if you take a painting to be hung at BB&T or at Palmetto Fine Arts or any of the other venues that allow us to hang paintings. But just the spring show and still hopes. Once you've entered, that's it for that payment. Any other questions? Okay, I'm going to turn this over now to Carol Blackwood, and then we'll go through the rest of this as each person who's speaking will turn it over, and I'm gonna unmute myself. I'm gonna mute myself now. So Carol Blackwood is our workshop coordinator.
Hi. Okay, guys, we have 10 people coming to our Rob Shaw workshop as of right now. So that is a good number for us. And we're hoping to get a few more. We've got about another 2 weeks almost. Or maybe that's just a week. Maybe that's just a week. I can't count anymore. But so we're real pleased with that. I stopped by and talked to Rob the other day and found out that everything's working quite nicely on his end. Everything's working nicely on our end. We still haven't located a workshop for November, so I'm not real certain what to do about that, but we are still working on it. And that's about all. It's going to be Zoom. And everybody, I hope, has downloaded or at least read what the requirements are for the paint. You know, he's recommending 16 by 20 acrylic as to fill in your canvas. Well, actually, he's going to tell you all that, so I probably don't need to, as a matter of fact. And I think that's about all. Oh, I talked to, well, I totally went blank. I talked to Ryan Fox, who's going to be our judge for our March show. And he's all ready and set and pleased that the rec center is open. So we will be able to do that in person with whatever safety precautions are needed at the time. And he's also willing to come to our reception and let the people that paintings he looked at, let them ask him questions. So awesome. That is also good. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to toss this off to Kay, who's our Juried Show coordinator, I think is the right thing here. Okay.
Kay, make sure you're unmuted.
Okay, I was clicking the wrong button. Sorry. Just a couple of things about the Juried Show. Since we're moving forward with the plans, we're hoping that we'll be able to have the show face to face, but as everybody knows, who knows? We're just going to have to wait and see, and hope by March we're back in the game. You should have received all the emails, the prospectus and the postcard and the volunteer sign-up sheets for the show. And if you have any questions about those, you can ask. Let's see. However, anything that, whatever way we have to do the show in March, we still need volunteers. So it's very, very important. And Julie Larkin has graciously agreed to take over as coordinator of volunteers. As Pam Bulak, she was going to be my co-chair for this, but she's had an illness in her family and she kind of had to drop out for now. We don't know what's going to happen later on, but if you would like to please keep her family in your prayers, that would be great. So Julie, I think if you want to tell us what you need to tell us, that'd be great.
Okay, am I unmuted?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, excellent. I'm going to explain a little bit about this Juried Show sign-up sheet that everyone got, because I think it's a little confusing. And if anyone has their sheet available, or they can pull it up on their phone while they're on their computer, it might help understand it a little bit. When you look at the sheet, the very first thing you'll see is volunteer sign-up sheet for reception. I want you to scroll past that, past team 2, past team 3 that says cleanup, to where it says registration takedown. Okay, That actually should say registration take in. And it's done on Saturday and Sunday on those dates and those times. Do you have a question, Barbara? I can't hear you.
No, I'm good. Sorry.
It'll be Saturday, February 27th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. and Sunday, February 28th from 1:30 p.m. to 3:10 p.m. The next one is Show Takedown, Saturday, March 27th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And after that, you've got refreshments. Now, we are going to sign up for refreshments, even though we are not having a reception. The reason we're doing that is we're hoping that sometime between now and March, we will indeed be able to have some kind of a reception. So if you will sign up, we'll let you know when to bring them. How's that sound? Good, I hope. If you scroll past refreshments, you'll come to a sheet that says refreshments or cash donations. Now, many people like myself just don't cook, or they're too busy with their families. They just can't do the refreshment deal. We will accept donations, $5, $10, $25, whatever you can afford to give would go a lot towards defraying the cost of the reception and the refreshments. So there is also that option for our members. Scrolling even further on this sheet, you have award sponsorship. Now, I'm assuming everyone got the 3 sheets, the letter and the introduction and the sheet that they would fill out in order to make their contribution emailed to them. And what I did when I got my sheets is I made copies and I stapled the 3 sheets together and I took them out to various merchants in Lexington, in my neighborhood. I mean, it doesn't hurt if we get sponsors from Lexington. They may want Chapin to know they're here, right? Never know. So I went out and I tried. And you may also consider sponsoring an award for the show. $25, I believe, is the minimum, and it goes up from there. You will get recognition for the sponsorship just as well as any business would. I think that's all I have to say. Any questions? Does everybody understand?
No questions for Julie?
I think we're good.
Okay. We've got a
Everybody
ways to go
understands.
yet, and I'm sure we're going to be talking about this right straight through till March. So
Okay.
yes, we're all good. Okay, then the other person that I wanted you to meet was Britty Pointer, who's our fundraising chairperson, which, by the way, we've already started. We've got a lot of people out there searching for people for fundraising. And Britty, are you there? Do you have something you want?
Yeah, I think I unmuted myself. Can you hear me?
Good job.
Ah, good. I know. Well, it's so nice to be here with all of you on this crazy Zoom thing. I am helping with the fundraising this year for the Juried Show. And tomorrow, Sandra is going to send out a list from last year of the people the sponsors that we had last year and the contact people and the amount that they gave. And we're hoping that you can go back to the same business that you went to last year and get a donation from the same people. Also, and there'll be a list of, I think, Sandra, there's some other businesses also, but also we do not want several people to go to the same business. So I need you to email me, and my email is really easy. It's just brittypointer@yahoo.com. And let me know if you went to the business, if you don't want to go to the business. And I know with this COVID thing, some people just don't want to get out. So just let me know. and because I'm trying to keep track of all this. So we're gonna need to know, if you went, if you can't go, if there's another business that you want to go to, just let me know so that we don't all show up at the same business. And I can keep track of it. I think that's it, right, Sandra? Oh, she can't hear me. Can you hear me? Oh.
I think what you would like for people to do when they get the contact sheet is to look over it, and if there's anybody or any business on there that they would like, that they think that they could go to, let you know before they go so that you can coordinate it. And if there are other businesses that are not on the list, board members were real kind to volunteer to contact a large number of these. But if there are other businesses that you know of, or if your family is involved in a business, hopefully you would consider sponsoring an award, or making a donation to sponsor. So Britty is doing a good job with this, but she does need you to let her know so that 5 of you don't go to the same people. We'll never get them again if you do that.
Okay, Alex has her hand up.
Question?
Alex?
Hold on. I'm on you. Okay. So at the board meeting, I had signed up for some things, but I still have to let her know, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, now the list, she's got that list, but I've also pared the list down that you had at board meetings so that the only businesses on that list that members are going to receive tomorrow will be those that were not picked up by board members, unless you want me to go back and add them on there and do the.
No, that's fine. No, I just I don't want to like double dip,
Right.
I don't want to
Right.
double dip. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. Yeah, I'll just try to keep track of everything so that we don't double dip. That's good. Okay. Anything else? All
No.
right. Thank you. Thank you. Stay safe.
Okay, and we're gonna go go ahead.
Julie's raising her hand. Julie Larkin's raising her hand. Julie, you're muted.
I'm unmuted
There you
now.
go. There you go.
My question is, I'm going out in Lexington. Do you want me to send you the names of potential donors whose businesses I visited?
Yes.
Okay.
Send them
Thank
to
you.
Britty.
Send them to Britty, right?
Right.
Yeah, send them to me. Whoops.
And also, I've got this, I ordered postcards from the last year's show. And if you need one of those to go with you when you're going to businesses or whatever, she didn't tell me yet today when I'm going to get them, but as soon as I get them, I'll send an email.
I think you mean programs. You ordered postcards for this year's show and programs from last year's show.
Yeah, programs from last year's show. And we also ordered postcards for next year's show, but I should be getting those programs maybe by next week, so I can have Donna send out an email and have you pick them up maybe at the park if you want to take one to show people what it looks like.
And we ordered enough programs that if you were a winner in the show and you would like a copy of the program for yourself, you may have one.
Any other questions?
I think you're just introducing me.
Barbara, you're next.
All right.
Community arts.
Right. I will briefly say that we are in preliminary discussions with the town of Chapin for our next community art project. Woohoo! We don't know exactly what it's going to be yet, but I'm in the planning stages and having discussions with them about what options and possibilities are. We had talked about doing a painted crosswalk, but because of the COVID situation, DOT is not prepared for us to attempt anything like that. So we're going to try and come up with a plan B. We've got some ideas that are being bounced around right now, but I'm looking for a few good men, a few volunteers to serve on the planning and organizing committee for that community art project. So if you are interested, please let me know so that I can get you roped in on trying to do that. It's a fun thing to do. It really is. It gives you some interaction with doing some things, and it feels good to give back. So if you're interested, any large or small effort in helping with that will be greatly appreciated. Let me know.
Are you looking for volunteers to help with the planning, or is this when you're looking for volunteers to actually help do things? I mean, do the project itself?
Both.
Both, okay.
Yes. Okay, so that's all I'm going to say for right now, but do please let me know if you have any interest and willingness to be a part of that. And then I'm going to introduce Kay Fox, who is going to introduce our presenter for the evening. She's made all the arrangements. So Kay, if you want to introduce Rob, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. We're honored to have Rob Shaw with us tonight. He's a graduate from USC with a Bachelor of Arts in Art Studio. He discovered palette knife painting techniques, and he has been using and teaching this technique exclusively lately. He has had numerous individual and group shows in South Carolina galleries, First Citizens Bank, and the cultural councils of Richland and Lexington counties. He was the featured artist at Haven's Frame Makers and Galleries. Rob is placed in many shows, winning second in NBSC's Oil Painting Invitational, Best in Show at South Carolina State Fair, and he was juried into the art fields at Lake City, which is a big honor. His paintings are in many private collections, not just in the US, but also in Europe. And I would like for everybody to welcome our guest tonight, Rob Shaw.
Hey, I guess I'm on, huh?
You're on.
You the man.
Thank y'all for having me. I know a lot of y'all, so it's good to see a lot of friendly faces out there. If I don't know you, hey. So I paint with a knife.
Woo-hoo.
This is it right here. This is the special knife. I've got a problem with my shadow here. Hopefully I'm gonna be able to avoid that. I'm gonna try to do a real fast demo. It's a little painting, so it's kind of hard to see on a like a Zoom call, but I'll try to get it really close. I'm trying to get in the way too much. I went ahead and pre-mixed all my paint. Trying to get that shadow out of there. So I'm just going to be painting full speed. When we do the workshop this Saturday, it's this Saturday, by the way. When we do the workshop, we'll talk about color mixing and all that kind of stuff. And so the idea with the palette knife is that you paint kind of bold and fast. Just trying to move around a little bit so I can get the shadow out of the way. This demo will be a great example of that because I'm going to paint it super fast. I'm just going to talk while I get my camera straight. We're going to do a marsh scene. That's what I'm doing right now, and that's also what we're going to do Saturday too, kind of a marsh with clouds. And this normally, like when I do the workshop, when I do my weekly class, I'll have multiple cameras going, and I'll also do like still photos of things and put it on the desktop so you can see it. We don't really have time for a lot of that tonight, so I'm just going to paint really fast, and hopefully y'all can see what I'm doing. Hopefully I don't knock my camera over either because it's like right in my face. But I think this will work pretty good. So what I'm going to do, what I do when I paint a landscape, the way I teach it, I guess is the way I would say it. I paint from whatever's the furthest back, which is usually the sky in a landscape, and I work my way forward. So in this case, it's going to be the sky, then I'll do the clouds, then I'll work on these there's like little distant trees here, and there's the foreground trees. Then I'll work my way towards the land. Actually, let me correct that. Once I get to the trees here, I'm going to do the reflection of this down here. So while I have those colors mixed up, I'll go ahead and throw those down here. I'm also going to do a little scrape technique with the water. So it'll give like a blurred look. I like doing a lot of scraping techniques. It's really effective with water. And I don't know, we'll see how fast I can do this. So here we go. With skies, I usually like to fade from like a dark to a light. And I usually start in one of these corners. I'm going to start over in this corner. It's kind of a darker color. And I'll fade to a lighter color as I go down. And here we go. So when I load the knife up, there's a good bit of paint on there. I don't know how well that translates, but so I got a big old chunk of paint on there. And even with this little canvas, because it's just nice and juicy the way it comes off. A lot of times in the corners, you got to work it into the corners just so you don't get that line. So I'll start with that, and I'll start getting just a little lighter as I go down. And so, by the way, I've got my own gallery now over here in West Columbia on State Street near the Old Antique Mall and Cafe Strudel. I know a few of y'all have come by. If you haven't, come by and check it out. We've just started back doing the monthly art shows like for First Friday. And, you know, that's kind of iffy at this point, but we had a good crowd last month, and we're doing social distancing, everybody wear their masks kind of thing. And we had a bar outside last month, and you know, so people go outside, they want to socialize and drink, but definitely masks are required inside. And we've got Christopher Lane, who's a really good artist for November. So that should be a cool show. But, you know, if you don't want to come out for the night of, which I understand, you can come out later that month. It'll be up for the whole month. I don't know if a lot of y'all know him. He's kind of a surrealist artist. He paints some really crazy stuff, but he's pretty prolific. So he has a lot of stuff. And I haven't really seen a lot of what he's doing for the show, but I'm looking forward to it. A lot of times, when I draw my picture, I don't draw it too detailed because I'm just going to paint over it anyway. I do start with a toned canvas. See how it's kind of orange when I started? And the reason you do that is because a lot of times there'll be little areas that you don't paint. Like there might be a little speck here and there showing through. So it looks good if it's like a, you know, bright, warm color. Usually you want like a contrasting color, and landscapes are usually blue and green, so orange is a great color for that. I'm just going to skip down below the clouds now. Used to, I would go ahead and just paint the whole sky and then do the clouds on top. But
Rob, there's a question. Are you using any medium?
No, I just use oil paint straight out of the tube. I like Winsor Newton paint because it's pretty consistent. You know, all the colors have the same kind of body to them. And if you use medium, it makes it kind of runny, where it's, you know, you don't have to use a spoon to get it to the canvas. So I just use the straight paint, and lots of it.
And we have a second question. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, we have a second question. When you get a minute and have the right time, could you hold up the palette that you prepared in advance? They would like to see it.
Can you see that? That's pretty confusing, huh?
Yeah.
I basically just made my sky colors, my ground colors, my marsh colors. Let's see if I can get this camera back in here. I got more lights to turn on too. Let's see. So I haven't even done any blending yet. Sometimes I'll blend these things. Sometimes I'll leave them as is, just laying, you know, color on top of color. I like it when I already have some paint on here. The paint goes on much smoother on top of other paint. Like when you're painting on top of the canvas, it can be a little dry feeling. But when you've already got some paint down, it's much more buttery. So I like go ahead and getting some paint on the canvas and then put more paint on top because it's real buttery and smooth. Once it already has some paint on it. Kind of more what I'm doing here. I'm just blasting through this sky. And normally I paint fast. I wouldn't paint this fast on a regular painting. I'm just trying to do it real fast for y'all to show off a little bit. And so y'all don't have to sit here all night. All right, so that's the sky. Here comes the clouds. It's like a big old thunderhead. So I will like a bright. This is a color I like a lot of landscape. This is a Munsteritten flesh tint, which is like absolutely horrible for painting portraits or any flesh tones, but I like it for landscapes because it's a nice pink color. And you could easily mix this color. But I like using it for landscapes. This is just like the perfect tone of pink. See that big old, that was 2 strokes, like fist-sized strokes, like big old strokes. And that's the key to palette knife painting is, don't use the tip and make 100 little strokes to make that. Like, load up your knife and make a big old decisive stroke. That's the fun of it. And I think that's the part that some people have the most trouble with is loading the knife up and just letting it fly. I think a lot of people are scared they're going to mess up a canvas or something, but canvases are pretty cheap. They'll keep making them. Just get in there and mess up some canvases.
Rob, another question is, can you describe the size or number or something to definitively explain what palette knife that is?
This is a gorgeous palette knife. This is a Holbein 6S. This is about a $60 or $70 knife, which is the only one I use. I don't use any other ones. For the longest time, Lowell Cornell made a great one that I used, but they've discontinued it. So it was like a $5 knife. It was perfect. And that's what I got everybody to use in my class. Nowadays, I've kind of I'm kind of in between what knives to tell people to use because there's not one like this shape besides this one. And once people are in my class and they think they're going to stick with it, I always advise them just go ahead and get one of these. They have them at City Art. You can buy them online, but it's a Holbein 6S is the size. And this is, it's a nice tool. It's got like the, it's pure steel and it goes all the way down to the handle. So I thought they were kind of indestructible until I dropped one right on the tip one time and it just wrinkled the whole thing up. But unless you drop it straight down on hard floor, they seem to last pretty good. The cheaper ones, they would always break after about a year or two, or after a couple hundred paintings. At the joint, there was always a weld like right there. It'd always break right there. All right, so I'm trying to blend the bottom of this cloud out. While I've got this cloud color going, I think I'm gonna just go ahead and do the water before I forget what's going on. This is just kind of the underbelly of the cloud. You have to, when you're using similar colors, you don't have to wipe off the knife that much, but like when I'm changing colors, I use these little paper towels, little cut paper towels, and I wipe my knife off a lot because you gotta, make sure you got fresh paint when you're going at it. All right, I reuse up all my pink. I gotta mix up some pink real quick. No matter what, you can never mix up enough paint for the palette knife. It is just crazy how much paint it takes. So, like when I'm mixing, use the bottom of the knife for everything. It's like when I'm mixing up something, what I'm doing is I'm picking it up and smushing it over and over. And I just touch my paint. So you don't use the top of the knife or anything. It's all the bottom. And that's the way the handle's designed, to keep your hand out of the paint. So everything's done with the bottom. You pick it up, paint with it, mix your paint with the bottom. So for this bottom part, like I said, I'm going to scrape it just to give it like a blurred look. So I have to be a little more precise on how I put the color on down here, because whatever touches the raw canvas will stick around. Everything else will get swept away. And y'all see in just a second how that works. I've done a lot of these 30-minute, 45-minute demos. I've done them at my daughter's school before. I've done them at like, different tent events like the Rosewood Crawfish Festival and stuff. So it's always a nice challenge. See how fast you can paint one, and if it turns out good.
Rob, there's a question. Can you say again, how often is it you're cleaning your knife? Is it after?
Anytime I do major color changes. So sometimes it may be a long time, but a lot of times near the end, you clean it off a lot. Like I just cleaned it off because I'm about to go more purple here. I didn't want all that yellow mixed in with my purple. So I clean it when necessary, which is, whenever I'm changing colors. Let's see. And, doing the Zoom thing is okay, but it's not perfect. It's, it's kind of what we have to do right now. There are definitely restrictions to it, like being able to see everything I'm doing, or maybe being able to touch up, and actually do something on your painting. That's one of the big advantages of doing like an in-person class, which who knows when those will start again. But the biggest thing is just messing around with the paint, like getting used to it. I usually tell people when they're first in my class, don't try to make a good painting the first time. All you want to do that first time is really move the paint around, get used to the knife. The knife is such an unusual tool for most people that it takes a little while to get used to feel comfortable with it, to kind of let go with it. It's not a number one brush. You don't get into every little nook and cranny. It's more about the big picture.
So another question we have is, how long does it take someone who's comfortable with brushes to get used to a knife then?
That's a loaded question. I guess it depends on how hard you're holding on to your brush, It is not a brush. And if you want it to be a brush, it'll never be a brush. I heard when I was in, I don't know if it was high school or college or right in those areas, I took a watercolor class from somebody who was really good. and they said you got to paint 500 watercolors before you know what you're doing, you know. So I would say if you do 500 palette knife paintings, you'd be pretty good at it. And you can do that in 6 months probably. That's my answer. Some people just give up on it too easy. Like it is so loose, you know. It's not a super detailed thing. And if you go big, like if you do a big palette knife painting, you can get detail because, you know, the details are bigger. But it's never going to be a brush. I was never one to like all the, like, to do like a pencil drawing and shade something for hours and hours to get like a, you know, a sky or something. I was always too impatient for that. And I think that's why I like the knife, because it is fast. Like you can cover some area really fast. I've had people, kind of like I just said, you know, the first one, don't try to do a good one, just try to get used to it. A lot of times that's people's best painting because they're actually loose. I think people try to get too tight with the knife and they get real stiff paintings. All right, I think this is about ready. So I'm putting this on extra thick because I'm about to scrape it off.
Another question is, are you using acrylic or oils?
Oils.
Could you do it with acrylics?
I don't like it. Acrylics dry too fast. All those paints I mixed earlier would be dry right now, you know.
Even with open?
Well, I don't know. I don't use acrylics, so I can't answer. I don't know how fast open acrylics dry or using mediums. I've had people that just, you know, are acrylic people and want to do acrylics in my class, and I don't think they ever enjoyed it. Just because it's just different. Like 3 hours from now, I can go back and mess with this, you know, because it'll still be wet. This painting will be wet for a week. You know, it's on there so thick. It's kind of a problem sometimes how long it takes for it to dry because it's on there so thick. But that helps when you're in the middle of it. All right, so here we go. So I'm going to scrape this water. So I'm going to scrape this whole area down here off, and hopefully the canvas doesn't fall on the ground. All right, so I picked up a bunch of paint. There it is. Now we'll wipe that off, and I'm gonna do the next line down. Got a little bit of the sky too, which isn't too bad. I think oils are the best with a palette knife. You know, acrylics are good for certain things. All right, see that? It's like a kind of a blurred version of the top. I like doing that with water because it gives it just a cool, like kind of glassy, slick look. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna do the distant trees now, these very far trees. Trees like that, you know, they're green, but they tend to be bluer in the distance. So I'll make them kind of exaggeratedly blue. I've definitely done like more refined paintings with the knife, but even those are pretty loose. Can y'all see that? The closer I get to the painting, the further it pushes me out.
I think we could see the painting pretty well.
Okay. I'm gonna do this little sliver of land back here. I think like anybody who's, can draw and can paint. I mean, I think you can jump around from medium and stuff like I'm not a watercolorist, but if I'm trying to do a watercolor, I can do one. It's just not a master watercolor, it's like, because I'm still kind of, trying to figure out how to do it. Like I can make one that looks pretty good, but it doesn't have that real nice flow that someone who's really comfortable with watercolor could do. So I think the same thing's true with a knife. Like I think someone who knows how to paint could do pretty good with a knife, but it would take a while to get like, super comfortable with it, where you have total control over what you're doing. Sorry, I just messed up my colors. Always try to do things in the least amount of strokes as possible. And then I'll move on fast, but then at the end, I'll look at it all and go back and touch up a couple little places, but not the whole thing. I don't want the whole thing to be super tight.
We have another question that says, do you think a beginning painter could do this? Yeah, I mean, everybody's going to be a beginner Saturday. I guess there might be some people who've done it with me before, but I guess if you're a beginner painter, you're a beginner at whatever you're doing. So I'm sure it's funny, kind of just talking out of my head here, but everybody thinks they can paint with a brush because that's what everybody's been given all the time. Most people really don't know how to paint with a brush either, to really load it up and paint thick with it and be confident with your strokes and leave strokes there, not blend everything to death out. So I think there's really not a big difference in the knife and a brush if you're using a brush right. Like brushes are made to just be loaded up and put juicy paint on and leave strokes behind and look real painterly. So if you paint that way with a brush, I think you'll be great with the knife. And also, even if you don't become a knife painter, it's just the experience of using different tools, can help you grow. When I first started doing it, I kind of came across it by accident because I was painting with brushes and all kinds of stuff. But I would mix my paint with my palette on the palette, with my palette knife on the palette. And I noticed that my marks and stuff that were on my palette were nice. I liked them, and I was struggling to make nice marks with my brush. So I just slowly started doing the palette knife just in little areas of my painting. So it was kind of, and then it became where I was doing half and half, kind of half brush, half palette knife. And then eventually I just got to where I was doing all palette knife because I noticed that those are my best paintings, the ones that had the more of the palette knife work in it. So you can definitely do a hybrid thing too. If you really like brushes but want to have some bolder paint application or whatnot, or if you're just a little tentative about going all the way, you can definitely do a combo. There's people all the time in my class doing a hybrid method, hiding their brushes, pulling them out when I'm not looking, which I don't care, but I always give them a hard time. Another question is, do you see more often people start with brushes and go to knives or the other way around?
I think everybody starts with brushes. Just because, you know, that's the traditional, like when you're in school, that's what you use. How do we do it on time? I don't know. My phone is my time, and I'm using it for the video.
I think we're fine.
Okay. I'm coming in with some even, these trees are pretty dark, but I'm coming in with even darker at the bottom to give me some shadow. I might would have chosen a little different green for this if I had a lot of time. This is a little bit of a bold green.
Another question is, could you talk a little bit about how you choose your palette and warms versus cools?
Well, I mean, just the colors that I use, I like to have a warm and cool of each color. I like to keep a pretty minimal palette as far as, you know, not a lot of extra colors. I do white, cerulean blue, and French ultramarine. So that's my cool and warm blue. I like a viridian green because you can mix about any green there is, but viridian green is kind of a hard one to mix. It's got a real, makes a great turquoise color. So I like viridian on the palette. I'm in between. I always like a kind of a brownish color, but I've been using yellow ochre for a while, and I don't know, I'm starting to lean more towards like a burnt sienna for my brown, just because the yellow ochre is kind of a dull, dead color. So, you know, my palette changes a little over time. After that, I go, I like a cad yellow pale, and then Winsor Newton's cad yellow is pretty orange. So I do the cad yellow pale and the cad yellow, which is, so one's like a primary yellow and then one's more like an orangey yellow. And then I usually use alizarin crimson. My reds are kind of weird. You know, you don't use a lot of reds in landscapes. So I have about 3 reds that I just keep in my paint box. I use an alizarin crimson. I like permanent rose because it makes a beautiful pink. So I'll keep that one around. And then, you know, you gotta have a cadmium red for that super bright red. And that's about it. I mean, you know, I keep Payne's gray and flesh tint in the box, but I rarely pull them out. You can make like really dark colors just by mixing up like alizarin and viridian and maybe a little French ultramarine blue. You can almost make a black that way. I hardly ever use black unless I'm just doing like a black painting for some reason.
Kate Heald asks, he says, you used to use a fair amount of raw sienna to naturalize your colors. Do you still do that?
No, I used to use raw sienna a lot, and they were actually calling it Rob sienna for a while because I used it so much. But I got, when I was doing more of the scraping stuff, like what I did at the bottom, raw sienna is very like greasy, and it would just all wipe away. So I realized as I started doing more of the scraping that I didn't like raw sienna quite so much. So then I switched to yellow ochre, and now I'm finding that I'm getting tired of yellow ochre too. So I don't remember the last time I used raw sienna, just because it I do so much scraping these days that it just doesn't work. It's real greasy. It just wipes away. So I like yellow ochre for the time being, but like I say, that's kind of changing. Burnt sienna is a good color. You know, you can mute it down. You can add some white and yellow to it, and you can pretty much achieve like a yellow ochre or raw sienna type color. It just tan. Now I'm putting a little bit of green in it. A lot of times, you know, you may spend 5 minutes mixing up your color. You spend about 30 seconds putting it on the canvas. But that first time you put that color down, if it's not right, take a break, go back and fix it. You know, just because you spend a lot of time mixing something doesn't mean it's right. So, and a lot of times things will look different on the palette than they do on the canvas. So if that first stroke, I always look at it and make sure it's what I was going for. Because whatever it is, like if your palette's toned a certain way and your canvas is toned another way, it can look totally different. And maybe it's the light too, like the canvas is upright and the palette's flat. Sometimes they're just way off. It looks light or something. It looks like the right value on the palette, and then you put it on the canvas and it's not. So just because you spend a lot of time mixing the color, don't feel like you have to use it. You can always go back to the drawing board, the mixing board. I'm gonna leave this pretty spotty. I don't know if y'all can see how much texture's on there. It's textured, but there's also a lot of my underpainting showing through. I like that. So definitely, especially as you get towards the foreground, I like having it thick and letting some of the background show through.
What did you use for toning your canvas?
Super cheap craft paint. There it is. The best there is. This is just orange. It's just kind of what I had for today. But I like an orange. You know, it can be burnt sienna is usually what I recommend, but I usually mix all mine. Like I don't keep burnt sienna around and acrylic. I'll mix some reds and yellows and make like an orange color. I like a somewhat bright underpainting, especially if it's going to show through in like key spots. And so right now, I put that on, it was a little thick, so I'm using the tip of my knife to scrape some away. You can also use the tip of the knife to get that kind of seagrass look, like give it like little eyelashes. Usually what I would do step by step wise, like once I did the sky, I would take a photo of it and I would post it onto the like the desktop so everybody could see it. But it takes a little time to do that. So I figured with this quick demo, it wouldn't be time for that. But it helps, I think, just so you can see it better. Because with the glare and all that, you know, you're getting like a weird shine on this thing. With the glare, it can be tough to see actual colors or what's going on. So in my regular class, I do a lot of double camera work, and I'll take pictures and post them up on the screen. Make this edge a little ragged here. You can also do great scraping away. Like if you make a mistake or whatever, you can almost erase with the palette knife, because if it's on there thick enough, you just scrape off the first layer or so, and pretty much erases what you got. And after my demo, anybody that wants to stick around, like if you're taking the workshop or if you just have questions, stick around afterwards when I'm not painting, and we'll just do like an open discussion thing. especially if you're taking the workshop or if you have questions. Stick around.
You're at about 40 minutes in, you just so you know.
Okay. Yeah, I think I about got it.
Okay.
I'll mix up a color. Like if I'm using like a brown, like right now I've got this brown green I'm putting in. I was using it down here, but also all I've got on my knife, some could look good right back here too. So I'll just kind of search the painting for like, oh, where can I put some more of this? Because you want to tie things together in your painting, you know, you don't want just one color in one spot. It's good to have it, you know, things that relate to one another. So while I've got this kind of brown going, I'll see if I can find a few more places to put it.
As he's putting the finishes touches on, I would remind everybody, if you have any more questions, please let us know in the chat window.
When you get down to the bottom here, and I've kind of rigged my easel because this little tiny canvas is hard to get to. Whoa. When I get down to the bottom, I like to prop it out. And hopefully this isn't going to be disastrous because I've got this big easel and the ledge is too big, like to actually get, like with a brush, it's not a problem because you can get in areas, but with a knife, you're doing a lot of these kind of strokes like this, where the, you know, the canvas just, or the easel just gets in your way. You're like hitting your hand on it. So sometimes I'll prop it out, or I may even lay it flat on the easel when I'm doing the very bottom. So here comes this grass, and I'll try my best. Let's see. See if I can get it. I might have to lay it flat. Let's see what I can do. Let me see if I can adjust my camera. Y'all let me know if I'm blocking it or anything.
No, you're good.
I'm always looking at my paintings. I don't know what y'all are seeing. Sometimes when I'm doing the one-handed camera work, I'll be, you know, looking at what I'm painting and the camera will drift down or whatever. I'm telling everybody, let me know if it gets out of whack.
Yeah, we can't see that corner of the painting.
Okay.
Slide it to the right a little bit. We should be able to, there you go.
I'm trying to give it like a little window, a little opening right here. So you got grass on both sides. You can kind of enter right here and, you know, go up into it. So I'm putting this on really thick. This is the foreground. So this is the thickest part of the painting. I'm trying to use a few different colors. That first was like kind of an army green. Now I'm using, this is a lot more burnt sienna. And then I'll use, this will be the last few touches. I'll use a real bright, like highlight. Well, not real bright, but much brighter than what I've been using. Once I already have a lot of texture established, hopefully y'all can see this. The paint's a little thinner on this time. There's a lot of texture right down here. I'll just very lightly, I got my knife flat, and I'll just drag it over the edge of this. And what it does is just catches on the highest points. And it so just, you know, it only hits the highlights, the real high spots. Ooh, and I did a I did a mess up. So, you know, when I do a mess up of the knife, I just take the tip and go back and kind of scratch it back out. Let me sit this down for a second. So I had to wipe my knife there because it just got covered in that wrong color. And now, just gonna go back a little bit more of that dark before I finish.
A couple of folks are asking about the supply list for the workshop, so I will just tell everybody, if you go to where you would register for the workshop, and in the text description for the workshop, there's a read more button. When you click that, it drops down and you'll see the supply list and all the other information in there.
Yeah, if you have specific questions, just stick around. We'll talk about it. Because there may be like, oh, you already have some paints and you may have a color you just wonder if it's okay to use. And for the most part, it probably is. But if you have specific questions about colors or whatever, just let me know. All right, I think that's probably about good. I could beat it to death, but
we have a question. Could you hold that closer to the camera so they could see the detail down there in those grasses you were just working on?
Yeah. Let's see. I'll see if I can get it without the shadow of the light in it. I can't tell if the light's good or bad.
No, that looks good.
And those clouds, you know, those are more finished painting. I'd probably do a little more of those clouds up top. But you, and within the glare, you can see the texture too. See how it's got some heavy texture right in that area where the light's hitting it.
Yep.
You can see I didn't blend the sky. It's, you know, pretty big marks and stuff.
Another question is, are you doing exclusively palette knife painting now, or do you still use other mediums sometimes or other tools?
I would say it's 99% palette knife. Like, you know, I like messing around with different stuff. Like I, a couple weeks ago, I did a huge abstract painting because I've got a big dartboard in my living room and I wanted to cover it. So I got a hinged painting on covering a dartboard. It's like a 48 by 48 that I used acrylic, you know, with a brush about this wide, you know. So, I mean, there's always times. I'm a painter. I like to paint. So I'll do different stuff. Someone was talking about flow painting before. I've done flow painting, you know, I mean, I mess around with everything. But I guess when I'm sitting down or when I'm planning a painting, I know I'm going to, palette knife is my preferred medium. Like if I'm going to, you know, paint something that I'm serious about.
All right. Do you want to explain a little bit more about the workshop and what's going to happen in the workshop?
Yeah, so hold on, I was gonna do one last thing. And this is how I sign my paintings too. I just have one of these, I don't know if y'all seen this before. This is like called a wipeout tool. It's like a little rubber chiseled tip thing. I like to do this. I just scratch my name right into the wet paint. So and it seems silly, you know, signing your name, but I think a lot of people struggle with how to sign their paintings. So this way it looks like my real signature, like if I was using a pen. And it's scratched, it's like, you know, really etched into the painting. So it's like part of the painting. And so I always like to show people that too. It's a great way to sign your paintings. It always natural. You know, when you use a brush, it always looks all blocky. Like you're, you know, blocking it out. So with the workshop, what we're going to do is from 9 to 4. And we're going to do a few exercises at first, like just using the knife, filling in like shapes, trying to get y'all to, I don't know, just show you the different strokes you can make with the knife. There's only, you know, 3 or 4 major stroke shapes, you know, but you can do them different sizes, different directions, different ways to mix them up. So we're going to do that first. Then we're going to do, we might do something really quick like this, like a little 30-minute painting, but simpler, just so y'all can like knock one out and like not be nervous about it and then move on to the bigger one. I hadn't decided yet. Sometimes we get into that little painting and people lag behind so much that it turns into the all-day painting. So if I could really crack the whip and get y'all to, paint fast, I'll kind of fill everybody out with the technique exercise. And then what we're going to do is work on the main painting. I would say at least a good 4 to 5 hours, and we'll just do it step by step. What I do is I, tell y'all how to mix the sky color. We'll paint the sky. Then there's kind of a sunburst cloud kind of thing. So we'll work on that. And so it'll be step by step, and I'll go back and forth and I'll say, hey, show me your painting, especially if you're struggling. Show me your painting. Let me see what it looks like and give you some tips. We'll just go back and forth like that all day until we get, we'll work our way to the foreground like I did. And, I like the demo technique where you can see what I do, and you'll be able to see it a little better when I have the 2 cameras and I can post pictures on the screen. And that's pretty much how I do it, like a demo back and forth kind of technique.
Are we going to be working from your reference, or should we bring our own reference photos?
I've got a reference, so it works best that way, especially when we're on Zoom. I can tell you how to mix the colors, and we're all doing the same thing. So they'll all turn out different, that's for sure. But at least we're all on the same page if we're doing the same thing.
And I think you said your plan is to do 16 by 20.
That's what I'm going to do, and that's a good size. If somebody wanted to bump up a little bit, I wouldn't go any smaller than 16 by 20, because when you do a small painting with palette knife, it makes the knife seem even bigger. You can't get any small details. So 16 by 20, maybe 18 by 24 is a good size. If you get too big, it's just harder. If you do it 24 by 30 or something, it gets kind of big to where it's hard to finish in time. There are people in my class on Wednesdays that'll bring 30 by 40s and stuff, but they're experienced and they're more comfortable with it.
There's another question. Do you ever use cold wax with your paint?
Nah, I've got some. I always forget to mix the mediums in. I just like paint. I like mixing the paint. I don't see any use in it, mixing mediums with it, unless you're doing like glazes and stuff like that. But I'm just slapping it on thick. I used to use they have a gel medium that's like the same consistency as the oil paint that comes in like oil paint tubes. And I'll put it on my palette, but then I'll just sit there all night because I forget to mix it into my mixtures. So I just decided not to even do that anymore. It was supposed to speed up the drying time, but the drying time usually isn't a big deal unless you got somebody just sitting around waiting on the painting, which I guess if you have a show or a commission, it can be a problem. But I just use straight paint. There are people that use the I can't remember what it's called. It's basically like a liquid, but it comes in like a tube. It comes in a one of the big tubes like this, but it's liquid. I think it's like liquid impasto or something like that. So if you wanted to speed up the drying time, you could do that. But I always forget to mix it in. So I just
do they need to have any special equipment set up for them to be a participant in the workshop? What
you want to do is you want to have a computer's best because you have a big screen, or a big tablet is best. You want to have your camera, computer set up where it's best if I can see your painting the whole time. A lot of people don't want to sit that way; they want to hide in the corner. But you want to have the computer where at least you can see it, everything that's going on. You want to have an easel of some sort, whether it's a tabletop. You could work flat with a small painting. I always like an easel because it's propped up. The palette, this is one thing that is important. A lot of people will bring those for the first night. They'll bring one of those like the palette you get with the painting kit that has like it's one of the French Impressionists use, has a little hole in it, and it's about 12 by 16, and it's just not big enough. The hole ruins half your real estate. You don't have any room for mixing. This here is this is a 16 by 20, just piece of plexiglass. But you could use the 16 by 20 canvas panel or 16 by 20. The main thing is you need a big palette, because you see I used up all my space on this right here. And if you had a palette half the size with a thumb hole in the middle of it, you basically could only mix the sky color. And you'd all day you'd be wiping your palette off, changing. So I think the palette is the biggest thing, having a big flat palette. I've seen people use, glass is a little more dangerous, but people use glass sometimes. I like plexiglass just because I have it around because I have a frame shop, but you can get it at Lowe's, or you could even use a board if you probably have to. You could just use a board. If you had a board, it'll kind of soak up the oil at first until it gets broken in. But I just like a nice flat palette, something at least like 16 by 20 is nice because it's crazy how much paint you have to mix. I mean.
There's another question about the reference for the workshop, Rob. Are you going to email that to everybody, or how will they be able to see the reference to work from it?
Yeah, I mean, I can. I don't have the emails for the participants yet. And I think the reference photo was in with the initial, I guess, workshop announcement thing.
Oh, it's that same photo. Okay.
So, but yeah, if y'all get me the participants' names, I can email everybody the week of. That way, if they have questions, they can get back with me.
Okay.
And,
Carol, will you do that?
You want me to get the picture from him?
Well, just email me the participants' names. Whatever y'all want to do, whichever way. I can run everything through y'all, or if y'all want to just give me the participants' names, we can do it that way.
Just give him the names and emails, Carol. I think it'd probably be easiest.
Oh, give them to Rob?
Yeah.
Okay, I can do that.
Then what I'll do is I'll just do like a email saying, thanks for doing the workshop. Here's some details, and that way they'll have my contact and I'll have theirs, and they can go back and forth with me if they have questions. Because there's usually a few questions the week of, trying to figure out. Finding the right knife is tough. Give me 1 second. I'll show you all a couple of different ones.
While he's grabbing that, does anybody have any other questions?
Did everybody find the list of supplies, the supply list?
Okay, so what you want is kind of a teardrop shape. See how this is it's like a teardrop? I don't like the ones that are like diamond shape that have there's like an angle right over here. It's like a sharp angle. Because what that does, it puts scratches in your, like when you're doing your sky, you get all these scratch marks from that jagged angle hitting everything. So having the rounded curve back here is nice. And really whatever size, this is kind of a small one. And see, compared to the one I use, this is the one I use, and this is the one next to it. Same shape, really. It's just smaller. And then I think it's City Art. You can get one of these. This is a RGM knife, and it's a little more pointed on the end. It's pretty good size compared to the one I use. It's decent size. And this is the one I used to love that we can't get anymore. This is a Lowell Cornell. It was the J16, and I mean, it's exactly the same. I mean, they're pretty much the same shape and everything. But see, this one has the weld mark there, and eventually this will just break. But you got to do a lot of painting before you break one. And then there's also this big fat one, which I think is a little too big. See, it's even bigger than mine. But the main thing is you want a nice teardrop shape. But I think you can, I don't know if Michael's and Hobby Lobby really even carries many palette knives anymore. But I know City Art has some. And I think Jerry's Artorama is usually pretty quick of shipping if you were going to order online.
Okay.
Ordering online is a little iffy a weekend,
Yeah, especially with COVID right now. Who knows?
Right.
Does anybody have any other questions? If not, I think, Kay, you get the floor again. Okay, Fox.
Okay, said I didn't see any more questions. So Rob, we'd like to thank you very much for your time this evening. Very educational and interesting. I'm looking forward to trying some palette knives myself sometime. And now we do the door prizes. Since we're not in live, we just draw and you get a $25 gift card to Amazon that will be mailed to you. Stephanie Arnold here?
Nope.
Okay.
You have to be present to win, y'all.
Ann Peak.
Ann is here.
Okay.
Yes, she was. You still here, Ann? Let me see. I think we might have lost Ann somewhere along the way.
It's a good way to make sure everybody sticks around.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I think we lost Ann, actually. Yeah, I don't see her in the list anymore.
Yeah, we're from 48 to 32 now.
Yeah. All right, so draw another one, Kay.
So don't keep Ann's out, put it back in.
Yeah.
Okay. Alan Beedenbaugh, the new person today, our newest member.
I'm trying to
I know
see.
she was there.
She was. I think we just lost a couple people as he was finishing up. Sandra, do you want to give them credit for it or keep drawing?
Try it twice more and then we'll.
Okay, let me put Alan's back. Oh, James DiFrancesco.
Jim, you still there?
Yep.
Alex, Jim still there?
There he is.
Yep.
Okay. JJ Casey.
I won something?
Yeah.
I don't ever win anything.
$25 gift card.
I like Amazon. I mean, I used to love them, but they make me angry sometimes.
I can understand. Okay, so JJ Casey.
JJ's still on. She might be, let me see. She's muted. JJ, can you hear us? Well, she's still here. She's still with us.
Okay.
I see her.
Yeah,
Unmute
she's
her.
just muted.
Also, Rob, your painting was awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
I work good under pressure.
Karen Jamrose.
No, she wasn't here tonight.
Jenny Brownham.
Jenny was not on tonight.
Noelle Brought.
Noelle was not on tonight. You're not drawing the right names.
Sorry. Ruth DiMirra.
Ruth is on. Ruth, you
Is
still
here.
here?
Okay, that'd be our third one. So our three winners tonight are Jim, JJ, and Ruth.
Yep.
Way to go.
All right.
No.
Sandra, you got closing remarks?
Want to thank everybody for coming. Enjoy this pretty weather that we're going to have this next week. Be here for November. Kay was going to mention we're going to have Olga, who will be giving us a tour of her studio and McMaster Gallery. So that should be interesting in November. So
I'm excited.
and
sorry, I
three
got
people
busy writing
and three
down
and
names.
if you're here, you might win a door prize. not Jim or JJ or Ruth again, but somebody else. So any other questions or comments? Thank you for
Thank you, Rob.
coming. Have a good night.
It was
Thanks,
really
Barb.
nice.
Thank
It
you,
was very
Rob.
nice. Thank you,
Good
Rob.
oil painting.
Thank you all for having me. It was fun.
Thank you.
All right, we'll let folks drop out. If anybody wants any more question time with Rob, he offered that at the end. We'll give it a few minutes and see.
So Barbara, do y'all have like a Facebook page or anything like that?
We do. We have Facebook and we have Instagram.
Why don't I send you a picture of this? and you
Bye,
post it there.
everybody.
That would be
That way
fabulous.
People want to see it in person.
Yeah, that
Good
would
night,
be
everyone.
fabulous.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
you're welcome.
Enjoyed it.
Appreciate it, Rob. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Barbara,
Yeah. Al's got the floor.
where do you find a hand to raise your hand on the iPad.
On the iPad, do you see a reactions bar where it says like yes, no, go slower, go faster?
No,
Do you see your participant window?
no.
It's under participants.
I see participants, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, all right, click on participants and it's down at the bottom on my iPad. It's down at the bottom. It gives people's names and then it's got raise hand, yes, no.
I see people's names.
Okay, look down below that.
Okay, you answered my question. Thank you. Now I know how to raise my hand. Okay.
I didn't even know
There you
that until tonight.
JJ's got her hand raised. JJ, you got something?
Yeah,
you
I
wanted-
did not know, I did not know how to find that, so I hadn't been able to participate.
Oh, no, well, in the chat window too, but you won a door prize, so congratulations.
I heard that. Yeah, thank you, thank you. But my little bar won't stay down. I'm on an iPad. And that little bar up at the top won't stay down. It keeps flipping up.
Well, you
Now I
have
know to go to
you have-
participants.
You'll have to click on it and then it'll go away if it gets tired of waiting for you if you don't do something.
I'm learning.
You're doing great, JJ.
You're good, JJ.
My first time.
Did you have something you wanted to ask Rob?
I've been listening. I've been taking notes and listening.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, JJ, good to see you.
Hi, Rob. Good to see you, dear. Looking forward to your workshop.
Oh, you doing the workshop? Great.
Yes.
Awesome.
Ruby and I've been taking workshops from him for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
All right, anybody got any other questions?
Thank you, Barbara.
All right. I think we'll let Rob go then, probably. Looking forward to the workshop. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Barbara, I'll send you the picture though.
Perfect.
I'll email it to you.
Yeah, that'd be
that way
great.
if you want to put it on the Facebook page or whatever.
I would love to. That's great.
Because it'll look different that way, in a still photo than just the video.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
That'd be fabulous. Thank you. You
Well, I
should have the
enjoyed
email,
it,
right?
and I'll send out the info to the participants too of the workshop. So
Perfect. Thank you.
just let me
very
know if you
much.
need anything else.
I don't think so. I
Okay,
don't think
perfect.
so. All right.
It'll be fun.
Thank you. Bye,
All right.
Rob.
I'm out.
Thank you.
Bye.